tobacco. People smoke it, people chew it, and there are advertisements everywhere showing people having fun with tobacco.
There are also warnings about tobacco. Tobacco products can cause lung cancer. They can cause heart disease. Tobacco can even cause death. So what's the truth about tobacco? That's what this program is all about.
Hi everyone, I'm Eric.
And I'm Lindsay. Welcome to What About Tobacco? In this program, we're going to discover the truth about tobacco.
We'll take a look at all the bad stuff about tobacco, the effects tobacco has on people, their lives, and their health. And then we'll ask this question. If tobacco is so bad, why do people use it?
We'll begin by first answering the question, what is tobacco?
Tobacco is a plant that is grown in many places all over the world. The leaves are picked and hung to dry. Tobacco is then bought by manufacturers and rolled into cigarettes or cigars. Tobacco can also be shredded to smoke in a pipe or ground up for people to chew or dip.
Some people smoke tobacco in cigarettes, pipes, and cigars. Other people chew or dip finely ground tobacco, but they don't swallow it. They spit it out.
But how does tobacco harm people? All tobacco contains a drug called nicotine. A drug is any substance that changes how the body works. And whether someone smokes tobacco or chews it, the nicotine can change things in their body and do all kinds of harm.
When tobacco is smoked, the smoke, along with the nicotine, enters the body through the mouth and nose. From there, the smoke passes down the throat to the lungs. The smoker blows out the smoke, but the tar and nicotine and many other harmful chemicals stay behind in the lungs. Tar is the solid particle in the smoke that contains nicotine and other chemicals. It causes cancer.
One of the most common effects of smoking are lung problems, and here's a demonstration that will show you why. This person is blowing smoke through a tissue. See the dark spots that have stuck to the tissue? That's tar. That sticky material coats the lungs of a smoker. Tar irritates the tissue and can eventually cause cancer. Lung cancer is one of the top causes of death in North America.
Another serious disease smokers get is called emphysema. Look at this picture of a healthy lung. See how pink it is? Healthy lungs are stretchy, like balloons, so they can take in plenty of air for the body to use. Now look at the lungs of a smoker who had emphysema. Tar clogs up the lungs and makes them less stretchy, so it is harder for the smokers to breathe. Because their lungs don't take in air the way they should, smokers find they run out of breath very quickly.
Besides the lungs, smoking can harm other parts of your body. How? Well, from the lungs, the nicotine moves into the bloodstream. It causes the arteries to get smaller or constrict, so the heart has to work harder. That makes the blood pressure rise, and high blood pressure is very bad for you. That's one reason why smokers are more likely to get heart disease, and heart disease is the #1 killer of people who smoke.
Some kids begin smoking because they don't think about their health. They think they don't have to worry because smoking won't affect them until they're older. But is that really true? We asked our reporter, Nicole Smith, that question. Nicole?
Everyone knows that using tobacco products over a long period of time can lead to cancer and heart disease. But what most people don't realize is that symptoms can develop as soon as you start smoking. What kind of symptoms? Well, kids who smoke report that they get short of breath, so it's harder to exercise. People who smoke may cough a lot. Using tobacco products is just plain disgusting. So disgusting, in fact, that most kids will never try smoking. And they have some pretty good reasons why they don't.
My grandpa smokes. His whole house smells awful. Every time I go there, when I walk out, all my clothes smell real bad. I feel like throwing up.
My aunt smokes, and when she goes to kiss us, yuck. Her breath smell is awful.
Back to you, Eric and Lindsay.
Most of the bad things you hear about smoking are about cigarettes, so some people think it would be better to smoke cigars. Cigar smokers don't inhale, so they think they won't have problems. But cigars still have tar and nicotine. So, in 1999, the state of California started to require cigar makers to put the same warnings on cigars as on cigarettes.
Pipe smoking poses similar health risks.
Many people also use smokeless tobacco. They don't smoke it, but they put it in their mouths. Some chew tobacco. Others do what they call dipping. That's placing tobacco in between your cheek and gum. Some people think smokeless tobacco can't hurt them, but that's not true. The nicotine in tar is absorbed by the gums and from there moves into the bloodstream. Because the mouth is irritated, the cancer often starts right there. So, using chewing tobacco can cause cancer of the lips, the mouth, the cheek, or the throat. A person can die from any of these cancers.
And we haven't even mentioned some of the other effects of tobacco, like it gives you horrible breath, and after a while, it can even cause gum irritation that can eventually make your teeth fall out. And even if they don't fall out, tobacco stains your teeth an ugly brownish yellow. So if tobacco is so bad, why do kids start to smoke or chew tobacco in the first place? Reporter Nicole Smith went out and interviewed some kids who do smoke. Let's see what they have to say.
Hi, I'm sitting here with Corey, who's 17 years old, and Allison, who's 16. They're both smokers. They didn't want their parents to know that they smoke, so they asked that we not show their faces. But they both did agree to answer some questions for us. We'll start with Corey. Corey, how old were you when you started smoking cigarettes?
I started when I was 12 years old, and I'm still at it. And I still have to sneak because you can't buy cigarettes legally until you're 18.
So you're still smoking? Don't you know all the bad things it can do to you?
Sure I know. Everybody does. But I bet you don't know that 3,000 kids start smoking every day.
Wow, that's a lot. When did you start, Allison?
I was about 13.
You must have known by then how bad tobacco is for you.
Sure I did. Just the way those 3,000 new smokers a day do.
Corey, how did you start?
My friends and I would take turns stealing a cigarette from home, and then making a big deal out of figuring out where to meet. After a while, one of the guys got his older brother to buy him a whole pack. So for the first time, we each had our own cigarette. That seemed so cool. By the time I was 14 or so, I found a store that didn't make a big deal about who they sold to. So I bought a pack every once in a while. I even started smoking alone sometimes, when I felt like it.
Allison, how did you start?
Well, my girlfriends and I went to the movies, and we saw these girls in the movies smoking. We thought they looked so cool and so sophisticated. We thought we could look like that too. That's when I started.
Did either of you try to stop smoking?
Sure, I did.
Me too, but by then I was addicted, which means it's hard to stop because you crave cigarettes.
What about the health risks? Did you ever think about that?
I didn't, and most kids don't worry about health because they figure smoking won't really affect them until they're much older.
I sort of thought that too. Every once in a while I'd try to stop and maybe I'd last a day or two, but that's it.
Do you know that the nicotine in tobacco is just as addictive as heroin? It really is.
You mean you can be like an addict and you really can't stop?
Well, you can stop, but it's very hard.
Have either of you tried again lately?
Yep, just last month. I made it for 3 whole days, but I couldn't stop the craving. I feel so dumb.
You know, the younger you start, the more likely it is that you'll become addicted. Also, the younger you start, the harder it is to quit.
So there you have it. The younger you are when you start, the harder it is to quit. And that's something young people need to know. Tobacco is a very addictive drug.
Thanks, Nicole. So, smoking isn't something most people can do once in a while, because the nicotine in tobacco is addictive.
Addictive means that once you start, it's very hard to stop, because your body starts to need it to feel normal. And the more you use it, the more of it you'll need. So you start to smoke more and more. Did you know that studies show that adults very rarely start smoking? 9 out of 10 smokers began smoking when they were kids or young teenagers.
Some kids start smoking because their friends do. Others start because they're attracted by cigarette advertisements. That's why it's so important to be able to look at an advertisement about tobacco and know that it's not the whole truth. This advertisement gives the image that people who smoke are pretty, handsome, and healthy. Everyone wants that. But using tobacco products doesn't make you pretty or handsome. Tobacco products make you sick, not healthy.
In this ad, the woman has white, sparkling teeth. But is that reality? No, because we already know that people who smoke have yellowish-brown teeth. In this ad, people are having fun, playing games. But we already know the real truth is that people who smoke have problems breathing. And they cough a lot. Playing sports is harder for them.
So, it's important for you to understand that tobacco advertising doesn't send you the true message about tobacco.
Do you see classmates you know smoking or chewing tobacco? How do you feel about them? We asked some students that question.
I hate even being around people who smoke. Their clothes smell and their breath, it's disgusting.
My brother's friend chews tobacco when he's over at our house and my parents aren't around. It's disgusting the way he spits it out. Yuck!
I can't stay around smokers. I hate to breathe in smoke. It makes me feel like choking.
Good point. Did you know that even non-smokers can develop health problems if they're exposed to a smoker's smoke? It's called secondhand smoke.
There are two ways that the secondhand smoke can get to you. First, you can inhale the smoke that the smoker exhales. It goes right from them to you. Then, you can also breathe in the smoke that comes from the tip of the burning cigarette. The smoke contains harmful substances that can cause the same kind of health problems smokers have.
Here's a fact. If you're in a smoke-filled room for just 1 hour, it's just like smoking one cigarette.
So, the point is, just being around cigarette smoke is not healthy. What can you do if you're around a smoker? Well, Nicole is standing by with someone who's faced with that situation. Nicole?
Alyssa, you said your grandfather is a smoker.
Yes, and he picks me up every day after school.
And he would smoke when you were around?
Yes, we'd get in the car and he'd start smoking. It really bothered me. I used to keep my hands over my mouth.
Did you finally ask him to stop?
Well, I talked to my mom about it first. She said that I could tell him it bothered me, if I was polite.
What happened?
At first I was scared. I mean, it's tough to ask a grown-up, and I didn't want to hurt his feelings. I mean, he's my grandfather.
But you finally got the courage to do it. What happened?
Well, he was pretty cool about it. He actually apologized, because he didn't think that it bothered me.
That's great. So I guess the key is to let people know when their smoking bothers you. But be polite about it. Back to you, Eric.
Thanks, Nicole. Well, there you have it. In this program, we've shown you the truth about tobacco and how it affects your body and your health.
We've looked at tobacco product advertising and realized that it's just not true. It sends people the wrong message.
We've also seen and heard firsthand about how tobacco is affecting the lives of kids who are addicted, and they're not very happy stories.
So, what about tobacco? Don't try it. Don't use it. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm Eric Smith. Thanks for watching.